The last thing my grandmother whispered before she closed her eyes was my name. Not my sister's. Mine. She squeezed my hand with surprising strength, looked directly into my eyes, and whispered, "Don't let them take what's yours." Then she was gone. At the time, I thought she was talking about memories, about holding on to family traditions. I never imagined she was warning me about what would happen just days later. Before we continue, if you enjoy emotional stories filled with shocking twists and satisfying endings, please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and tell us where you're watching from in the comments. Your support helps us bring you more stories like this. Now, let's continue. My name is Emily. I'm 34 years old, a primary school teacher, and the oldest of two sisters. My younger sister, Rachel, had always been different. Growing up, she knew how to smile in front of people while quietly manipulating everyone behind the scenes. If she broke a vase, somehow I got punished. If she wanted my birthday presents, she'd cry until our parents gave them to her. She wasn't just the favorite child. She expected the entire world to revolve around her. Grandma Eleanor was the only person who ever saw through Rachel. She loved both of us equally, but she believed reward should follow honesty and hard work. I visited Grandma almost every weekend. Sometimes we'd simply drink tea together. Other times I'd mow her lawn, clean her house, fix broken shelves, or drive her to doctor's appointments. Rachel? She only appeared on birthdays, Christmas, and whenever she needed money. Yet somehow, she always knew exactly what to say to make herself look like the caring granddaughter. At Grandma's funeral, Rachel cried louder than anyone. She hugged relatives dramatically. She clung to the coffin. She could have won an acting award. I stood quietly beside my husband, Daniel. Grief doesn't always scream. Sometimes it barely breathes. A week later, the family gathered at Grandma's solicitor's office for the reading of the will. The room smelled of polished wood and old books. Our parents sat beside Rachel. She looked strangely confident, almost excited. The solicitor cleared his throat. "I'll now read Mrs. Eleanor Carter's final will." Everyone became silent. He began listing small gifts: jewelry to an aunt, paintings to cousins, donations to charities. Then came the estate. "I leave my house." He paused. "To my granddaughter, Rachel Carter." Rachel smiled. My parents exchanged satisfied glances. "I also leave the investment account, savings, antique collection, and remaining assets to Rachel Carter." The room exploded with congratulations. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Nothing. Not even a photograph. Not a letter. Nothing. Rachel looked directly at me. Then she smiled. It wasn't happiness. It was victory. Afterwards, she walked over. "I'm sorry, sis." She wasn't sorry. I guess Grandma loved me more. Daniel grabbed my hand before I could respond. Outside, I cried harder than I had at the funeral. Something didn't make sense. Grandma had spent years telling me that fairness mattered. She once joked that Rachel would sell the family home within a week if she inherited it. Why would she suddenly leave Rachel absolutely everything? Daniel kept repeating one sentence. "This isn't right." Over the next few days, strange things started happening. Rachel immediately listed Grandma's house for sale. She auctioned family heirlooms. She sold Grandpa's antique watch. Even Grandma's wedding ring disappeared. Everything she'd promised never to sell, gone. Then she posted holiday photos online. Luxury resorts. Designer handbags. Expensive restaurants. It had barely been 2 weeks. Meanwhile, I couldn't even enter Grandma's house to collect my childhood photo albums. Rachel changed the locks. She texted me. "Everything inside belongs to me now." Our parents supported her. "Emily, you need to move on." Move on? From my grandmother? From the woman who practically raised me? One rainy afternoon, I visited the cemetery. I sat beside Grandma's grave for hours. I kept replaying her final words. "Don't let them take what's yours." The sentence wouldn't leave my mind. As I stood to leave, an elderly man approached carrying fresh flowers. He looked familiar. Very familiar. "You must be Emily." I nodded cautiously. "I'm Arthur." Then I recognized him. Grandma's retired accountant. He had worked with her for almost 30 years. He placed the flowers gently beside the grave. then looked at me carefully. Tell me. His voice became serious. Did Eleanor's will turn out exactly the way she expected? Something inside me froze. What do you mean? Arthur frowned. She specifically told me she had changed everything 6 months ago. My heart skipped a beat. Changed what? The inheritance. I stared at him. He stared back. Slowly, very slowly, he said the words that changed everything. Emily, you were supposed to inherit the house. For several seconds, I couldn't speak. Arthur looked genuinely confused. I personally watched Eleanor sign the updated documents. I felt my pulse racing. There wasn't any updated will. His expression disappeared. That's impossible. He immediately opened his leather briefcase. Inside were folders, receipts, and neatly organized files. After searching for nearly a minute, he removed one envelope. This, he handed it to me, is a copy of the instruction letter Eleanor asked me to keep. Inside was Grandma's handwriting. Clear, neat, undeniable. It read, Arthur, once my solicitor files my final will, everything should pass to Emily. She has cared for me with love, never expecting anything in return. Rachel has received enough from me during my lifetime. This decision is final. I burst into tears. Arthur looked horrified. Who read the will? I told him. The solicitor. He frowned. I've never heard of him. Neither had I. Arthur insisted we visit Grandma's longtime law firm the very next morning. When we arrived, the receptionist looked puzzled. Eleanor Carter? She checked the records. Yes, we prepared her final will. My stomach tightened. But she frowned again. It was never collected. What? The receptionist disappeared into the archive room. A few minutes later, she returned carrying a sealed file. It still had Grandma's signature across the seal. Unopened. Untouched. Arthur looked at me, then at the file. This should have been the version presented. Instead, someone had submitted another will. One that nobody at Grandma's trusted law firm had ever seen. The senior solicitor joined us. After examining both documents, his face turned pale. The signatures look similar. He adjusted his glasses. But this isn't Eleanor's authentic signature. Everything around me seemed to stop. Someone had forged Grandma's will. The police were contacted immediately. A forensic handwriting expert confirmed what we already suspected. The signature on the will Rachel used was fake. Phone records uncovered something even worse. Rachel had secretly met the unfamiliar solicitor several times before Grandma died. Bank records showed large payments. Investigators dug deeper. Eventually, the truth surfaced. Rachel hadn't acted alone. Our father had helped arrange everything. He believed I already had enough because I was happily married. Rachel, according to him, needed the money more. Our mother knew. She never reported it. She simply stayed silent. The criminal investigation lasted months. The fake will was declared invalid. Grandma's genuine will was finally read in court. The room was silent. Every word felt like Grandma was speaking directly to me. She left me the family home, the investments, most of her savings. But she also left Rachel something. £1, alongside a handwritten note. This amount is intentional. Let nobody say I forgot you. Even the judge struggled to hide a smile. Rachel lost everything. She was charged for fraud and conspiracy. The fake solicitor lost his license and later faced criminal charges. Our father received a suspended sentence for his role. My mother cried throughout the hearing. But for the first time in my life, no one blamed me. Months later, I finally walked back into Grandma's house. Nothing had changed. Her favorite chair remained beside the fireplace. Her knitting basket sat exactly where she'd left it. The scent of lavender still lingered in the hallway. I found one final envelope hidden inside her recipe book. It simply read, "For Emily." Inside was a handwritten letter. If you're reading this, then the truth has finally found you. I always believed honesty walks slowly, but it always arrives. Never allow bitterness to replace kindness. Let justice be enough. Live happily. That's the greatest victory. I cried harder than I ever had, not because of the inheritance, Not because justice had finally been served, but because even after she was gone, Grandma was still protecting me. Today, I still live in that house. I teach children the same values Grandma taught me: honesty, kindness, integrity, because money can be stolen, property can be forged, lies can fool people for a while, but eventually, the truth finds its way home. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share it with someone who believes that honesty always wins in the end. Now, we'd love to hear from you. If you discovered a family member had secretly stolen your inheritance, would you fight for justice or walk away to protect your peace? Tell us your answer in the comments below.